Hi everybody, it's Tamara from Prairie Town Girl here on Etcetera's, and I got a cuddle bug recently. It's a used cuddle bug, but it came with a whole bunch of embossing folders, so of course I have been embossing everything on my desk. I've got the white part of the napkins that you take out, toilet paper, coffee filters, tickets, tinfoil, doilies, like you name it, I'm embossing it, and I'm just having fun seeing how all these things turn out. And I really like the what happens when you use tinfoil, and this one I tried to ink it up a bit to try to age it, so I want to play with that a little bit today. So I have some printouts from Victoria Designs. It's a little mini journal, so I thought I would try to put together a little journal with these. So earlier today, I will share my craft fail with you first before we start. I was going to do an interesting binding where I used seam tape on the inside seams to hold the booklet together. As you can see, this was a fail in many respects. First of all, the glue seeps through the seam binding, so the pages stick together. But the worst part of it all is this creep that I was getting on the edge of the page. And I didn't want to have to cut off that much of each of the designs, so that's not going to work. Don't worry, I will cut those up and use them for something else. It just means my little mini journal will just be 2 signatures instead of 3. So that's okay. I'm going to be using this framed image. I'm going to put something on top of it, and that's going to be for the front, and then this is going to be for the back. Hopefully I'm not blinding you there. And I think I'm going to do a fabric spine. So that's the plan today. We'll see if I have more success this second time around. It's so beautiful outside. I was so distracted by the weather. I started this project earlier and I had to shelf all of it because I was making so many mistakes because I just wanted to go outside and play. So I went and did that, and now I'm back, and now I can concentrate. So I have this cookie box. Yeah, I ate all the cookies, and it just happens to be like the perfect height this way, and I'm just going to cut it in half because I think it will be when it's half, it's the perfect width, is it? It is pretty much the perfect width for my embossed folder pieces. So I'm actually just going to fold it and crease it, and then I will cut it. I could measure it all up and do all that kind of thing, but this just seems easier. And let's see here, I will actually use my knife. And what I am going to do is glue these like this, because what I have found in the past is that one thickness of this kind of cardboard just isn't enough. It's just a little too flimsy. And the other thing I've learned the hard way is to try to hide this printing somehow, so I will put all of that on the inside, and then it won't seep through anything I'm covering this with. So I need some glue. I've got this. Let me see if this will work. This doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be covering all of this, of course, anyways, right around the edges and everything. I just want to make sure it's kind of sturdy though. always like to give it a little roll with my brayer to really smush all the glue right over to the edges. So I'll just do this other side. There we go. Okay, so part of this massive kit I got from Victoria Designs also included full pages, well, like this. So I'm going to use some of those for, because I only printed them one-sided. I'm going to use those to cover this. And I can't remember the name of this kit. It was really big. If I can find it, I will put it in the description box or on the screen or something like that. And I'm just going to give myself a guide so I can see whereabouts. So I want to cut outside of that, right? I want to come out here a little ways. Coming about a half an inch outside of the piece of cardboard. I'm just going to glue that on. I think I'm going to use my glue stick for this step because I don't want the paper to warp and wrinkle. Okay, and now I'm just going to lop off all those corners so that it makes it easier to fold over. And I'm just doing this so that this edge is covered, and if anything peeks out outside of my my tin foil cover, that you can't tell. Clean edge. So I've already embossed my tin foil, so I'm going to cut it. Just going to cut right along the edge. You want your cover to obviously be a little bit bigger than your pages, but if you're going to be doing it like I am with something that you've embossed, you want to make sure that you line it up with the size of this piece, which is one of the mistakes I made on my first attempt. I made sure that these fit, but I forgot to make sure this fit, and it was the wrong size. So you can see there's just a tiny bit, I don't know if you can tell because that's pretty shiny, but it's just a tiny bit that's going to stick out all the way around the edges, and I'm okay with that. Not a problem for me. So this one is going to be, the back piece. So again, I'm just going to cut right along the edge of the embossing. Okay, and that will just stick on like that. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to attach it, and then I'll try to age it up a little bit once it's glued on. I don't want to do that right now because the tin foil is actually quite delicate. Even putting it through the embossing machine, you will get a few little holes where it will come right through. So you just have to, I just had to keep trying until I found the magic sandwich that got me the least amount of perforations. So I'm gonna go with my glue stick again and see how if this goes well. And I'm not going to use my brayer on this because then I would probably squish out all of the design. So, can you see that? Maybe that's a better angle. There we go. And then we'll just get our cover on here. Oh, and this is what's going to go on top of it. Oh, it's just shining so much. But that's what's going to go, there we go, on top of the cover. This one has a few more flat surfaces, so I can get right in there and burnish it down a little bit better. Okay, I'll try not to shine the light right in your eyes, but there's a good look at what it's gonna look like. Ah, too bright. Okay, so there's the front and back cover. There's the signatures. Now how are we going to put this all together? Oh, it's so tiny with only 2 signatures. I think what I need to do is add some more. I'm going to add some more pages and distribute them throughout. I feel like I need 3 signatures. So I'm going to go do that really quickly, and then we'll come back and we'll do the inside. Well, yeah, and then we'll do the inside cover. I'll be right back. Okay, I was in luck. I found another, a half of a set of this printout in a pile of stuff that I had coffee dyed, so it didn't take as long as I thought it might. Okay, so this is what I want to go on my spine on the outside, so that's what will be seen through like that. That's a little bit long, so I'm gonna snip that. And I'm pretty sure this will work because it's just a little bit wider than my pack of pages here. If I had more of this fabric, I would make this quite a bit wider, but I don't. So I'm going to back it with another wider piece of fabric just to make sure it's ultra sturdy. So let's make sure we've got our front and back the right way. And I'm going to use my heavy duty wet glue here, and I'm just going to run it down the side. Okay, so that's the inside edge. Now I'm just going to come in like 1/4 of an inch. Same on that side. So it's going to look, it's going to look like that. And then just to make sure that's like super secure, I'm going to put this over top so I can cut that down a little bit. That's just to make sure that this doesn't like just slip right off. So this is a little bit wider, so I'm just going to add a little bit more glue along the side of what I've already put down. And a little bit on the fabric as well. Just thinking what I probably should have done was put that down after I put down my liner, but that's okay. This will work just as well. There we So now I do want to line the insides, of course. I don't want to leave it like that. I was thinking I might just use some more fabric. But that's pretty see-through. This is just an old sheet, pieces of an old sheet. I think that's too thin. So I think what I'll do is I'll go back to the kit and I'll use one of these pieces. Just have to trim it down a little bit. Okay, that's pretty. Now before I put those in, we'll do the step that I normally forget. I want to put in my closure. And I think I'm just going to use this pretty seam tape. I love this gold color with this blue color. It's so pretty. So I will just eyeball it. Some glue down in the middle-ish. If you are using seam binding or seam tape, what you can do is take a lighter or match or whatever and just go really close to the flame and you'll melt the edge so that it won't fray. I'll do that later. Just be very, very, very careful, of course. Don't let it catch on fire. Okay, so actually, there we go. Okay, now I think I will go back to my glue stick for the inside cover. So again, be very careful pressing down because you've got your embossed piece on the other side and you don't want to squash it so much that you ruin that design. So that should be okay. There we go. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, now I think I'm going to try, let's see, I'm going to try putting a little ink on the tinfoil so it's not quite so glaringly shiny. And this is walnut. Let's see, just very lightly sort of try to tone it down a little bit. I'm not getting much off of that, so I think what I'm going to do is just re-ink my pad a little bit, and then I will keep trying. So I like to let my ink pad sit for a little while before I use it after I've re-inked it. Otherwise, it's just like, it's like super duper wet on top. And I don't want to just like dump all that right on my project. So I'm just going to let it sit for a few minutes, let it sink into the pad, and then I will get back to trying to dull this down a little bit. Okay, it's just been a few minutes actually, not that long. And so I'm just going back in, and it's okay if it's like, if you do get a big glob of ink in there, it's okay. It looks good, and because of the tinfoil you can sort of move it around a little bit, not like on paper where it would just seep right in. But again, just be gentle, just like barely touch it because the tin foil is still quite delicate. Just do a little bit on the front, not too much. Okay, I like that. It's not quite as shiny, and it just looks just a tiny bit aged. Like maybe this was an old diary or prayer book or something from the 18th century. I don't know. But that's the look I'm going for anyways. This is like a really special book, right? So that needs to dry a little bit, and while that's drying, I'll put that aside. I'm just going to punch my my signatures, I think. And I think because they're so short, I think I might just do 2 holes. Normally I would do 3. Am I making a mistake? I'm gonna live life risky and go for 2 holes instead of the regular 3. Now, what will I do here? So I'm going to show you a little shortcut that I like to do. Instead of measuring it all out, because I'm going to be lazy, I just take a scrap piece of paper that is the same length as the page, and I will decide on this scrap piece of paper. This is going to be basically my pattern. And I'm going to use the big guns here, but I just need the small hole. I can tell where all my holes need to be, and they can all line up. Okay, and I decided I'm going to use some embroidery floss, and I found in my stash the perfect match, I think. And so you are going to be able to see this on the outside, and again, I'm okay with that. And I forgot what I need to do is I need to punch some holes in here, don't I? Now, I could just probably, I think I could punch 2 holes instead of doing it like three holes like this, 1 for each signature. I think because this book is so small and there's only 10 folded pages in each signature, once again, I'm going to be a little lazy, and I'm just going to do 2 holes in my spine, and all of the binding threads will use the same holes. That is not normally what you do, but again, if we're going to live dangerously, let's just go for it. Oh, look at, they're still wet. I could use eyelets for those holes. What to do? Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I am going to put some eyelets in. finally found them, and now I have to decide. Oh, these are the decisions that hold me up. Do I use the off-white or the black? I think the black. I'm not even sure if I want to use them. Yeah, I think I have to. Otherwise the fabric is going to fray and rip. Okay, so these are like sewing eyelets that you would use when you were sewing. So these have two pieces to them. To make it go through and then stick that on. Okay, there we go. So now we just thread these on. And because I don't have my glasses anywhere nearby, I am going to use the biggest needle I have. That will work. I think, whoops, that's the one. Okay, all my signatures are in. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a rub down because this ink is just getting everywhere. So I just want to make sure, because it seems to be just sort of sitting on top. I need to let it dry some more. I'll just work it right in. Okay, that's it, all done. Got a nice fabric spine. You almost can't see the strings, except for this one's come right through, and I just need to tidy that up a little bit. And I think it looks like a metal book. Pretty printables, so nice. So I might add some pockets and tuck spots and tags and all that kind of stuff, but you know what, I don't even know if it needs all that because these printables are so pretty. You really just want to let those shine, so we'll see if I add anything more to that or not, but in the meantime, there we go. We've got a nice looking little mini journal. And there's the back. So there we go. I hope that gives you some fun ideas and different things to use with your embossing machine if you have one, or just a fun way to use tinfoil in your crafts. I really like the look of this, but it is probably not something I would just throw in my purse like I would with some of my other little mini journals. This might be something by my bedside table that I use to, maybe it could be a gratitude journal or something like that, I'm not sure. But I think it's, even though it's so simple, I think it's special. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope everybody is still staying safe and staying crafty. And thank you very much for joining me today. And I will see you next week with another fun project. Have a great day. Bye.